we have made a game called Tetris, like most of the online games also. And here we have our start page where we have spelled Tetris in different colors. And also we have our scoreboard here where we have our last score, the level and the high score. And here you can see the 5 different high scores. And then we have a controller here where when we press on the green button, the game will start. And then we have our game field here, and right here we have where you can see the next block figure. And
when you can shift to the left and the right with interrupts, and you can also rotate the block. And you can see you can rotate into other blocks because we have collision check, so you can destroy the game. And the blocks will detect when it lands on another block. And if you get a whole line, it will clear, and the rest will fall down.
And we also have the drop block. Now the game is over. So if you press the button, it will drop to the ground immediately. That makes the game a lot faster in the beginning when the timer is slow, so you can speed it up. But when the difficulty gets harder, it's not used quite that often because you have to think about where you place the buttons, and then you clear the line, and you got 100 points for each line you get. And after you pass 500 points, the level will go 1 up, and then 500 points more. And the timer gets multiplied by 0.9, so it's increasingly getting faster and faster. All the blocks are drawn.
So right now we are at level 1.
Level 1.
Right?
Yeah. So if you get a line more than that one.
So let's see if we can get to the next level.
Yep. To the left and then to the... Yep. Then you get to level 2, and the speed increased.
Yeah, it's use a timer to increase its speed. So we have a time interrupt also, and every time it drops, it's because it's getting into the interrupt timer. And it will drop 1 block.
How many levels do you have in total?
Kind of.
Unlimited.
But when you get to about level 10, it's extremely fast.
When you get over 10, the speed will have increased so much you have to be good at the game. We didn't set a cap because if you get a player that's very good at it, he or she should have the ability to move further into the levels and speed.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about the implementation. What was difficult? What did you find difficult of what you had to do?
The collision was difficult, but we made an array in 2 dimensions to detect, and when the blocks fall, it in the array also draws numbers different after what block it is, and it will detect in the array if there is already a number in the next field where it's going to be. So if there is one, it will not go there. It was kind of a long process to get all implementation of collision, but we made it. And also the drop down, when the whole line is made, have to fall down both in the array and in the graphics. That's a long time too.
So let's talk also a bit about this is software, right?
Yeah.
So what exactly did you do in software and what did you do in hardware? And do you use the PC at all, or can you run the game completely from the FPGA?
We can, when it's programmed, we can run it completely from the FPGA.
Yeah.
You can also use the serial communication with the computer to run it, but we meant to do it by this way when we made it.
So you have all the control features on the joystick as well as the numpad. So it's just preference. It's a bit easier to play on the numpad, of course. You you avoid debounce for the buttons.
Yeah, that also took a lot of time. The debounce in the hardware was a bit of a problem, but we made some software implementation to stop that. Because when we rotate, we sometimes rotate 2 or 3 times around, so it was a bit difficult, but we found some software implementation to stop that not happening. And we also have the interrupts from hardware when the GPIO, when both the timer and the buttons and also the buttons on the sideboard has interrupts to make sure when something happens, it's happening right away and not at the next timer. So
What about the graphics? What can you say about the graphics?
Well, the graphics, all the blocks are drawn by 2 for loops using X and Y coordinates and then height and the width, different colors. And when they're placed, the next block will move in. So they all have, when you set the X and the Y coordinates, you have extra variables that adds 30 to move it down, or plus 30 or minus 30 for the sides. And you restore that value, so when you move again, it will go 1 more to the left or right, and not stay in this position because you reset it. All blocks are drawn in 1 simple code and you flush at last. And all non-blocks, like the info box and the scrolls, are drawn 1 thing at the time by the same function for function, but I've made it to a function that gives that ripple effect when you start the game for the scoreboard, because it flushes every time you get in. It saves a lot of space in the code, and you don't have that many lines.
yeah, it's not disturbing for the game in any way, so it's no problem.
And
Okay.
so for the graphics, you can see they have black lines between the blocks. Some places have 2, as a bit figure visually. That because when the blocks is drawn, it's drawn by 2 squares, and there has to be a black background and then a colored foreground on it. So when the 2 squares meet each other, there will be a thicker black line. Also, when the array updates, when you get a line, every square will be drawn to the representative number. For each block have a number, like the blue eye block has number 1 in the array. So it runs through a loop.
Okay, I got the point.
Yep.
So if you are looking back at this project, what are you most proud of
I think
or most happy about?
I think the graphic, we're really proud of that, because when you start the game it looked very visual, good. From the blocks here. And I think in general we are very happy about the whole project.
But also the kind of, for me, it's like the collisions, because you can't go to the side and you can't crash the game by rotating the blocks, because that also stopped. That was a lot of time taking, because you have to detect very many blocks and kind of rotating, because they can rotate different ways. So a lot of time, but now they can't crash the game. So that's
And also the graphics, because our minimum implementation was in, we have to play it in console with like hashtags as borders and figures, and now we got nice graphics with blocks drawn on the screen instead of in the console.
Okay, thank you.